India's digital connectivity is expected to grow from 15% in 2014 to 80% access in 2034, with rural internet users increasing by 58% annually. In the next parallel tracks, we'll hear a panel of experts discussing integrated healthcare in the age of digital India. This panel discussion will be held in track 1, moderated by T. Radhakrishna, editor ET Government. In track 2, there's a fireside chat on policing with new age technology between Manoj Abraham, Additional Director General of Police, Headquarters and Nodal Officer Cyber Dome, Trivandrum, Kerala, and Mohammad Ajale, Senior Special Correspondent, ET Government.
Hi, good evening. Welcome to panel discussion on integrated healthcare in age of digital India. I'm joined by esteemed panelist, Mr. Bhaskar Katamaneni, IAS Commissioner, Health and Family Welfare and Mission Director of National Health Mission from Government of Andhra Pradesh. Dr. Shafqat Khan, Officer on Special Duty, Department of Health and Medical Education, Government of Jammu and Kashmir. Dr. Ruma Bhargava, Lead Healthcare Practice from World Economic Forum. Welcome to today's panel discussion, ladies and gentlemen. My first question to Mr. Bhaskar. Sir, how state governments like Andhra Pradesh is balancing its tasks between COVID vaccinations and ensuring beneficiaries to get healthcare treatment under Dr. YSR Arogyasri scheme?
We never separated both of them. In fact, all our Arogyasri empaneled hospitals are also our vaccination centers. We have around 580 empaneled hospitals under Arogyasri. And concurrently, all 580 of them are also giving vaccination services to the public. And of course, all 580 hospitals are also delivering all healthcare services because we have around 2,000 procedures covered under the Dr. YSR Arogyasri. All 2,000 procedures are going on and services are back to pre-COVID levels. In fact, in many cases, in many of the elective surgeries, we find that the numbers are better than pre-COVID because people would have postponed a lot of elective surgeries and other surgeries are back to getting their medical services done. So it's more or less things are quite back to the normal.
Dr. Ruma Bhargava, welcome to panel discussion. As a lead of healthcare practice with the World Economic Forum, how do you see your mandate?
Right. So the World Economic Forum focuses on emerging technologies as to how the new technologies like AI, machine learning, they can help bridge the healthcare divide in India with respect to the resources, infrastructure, human resources, the deficit what we have. So how these technologies can help complement and thereby enable the citizens at large to have access to affordable and quality healthcare.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ruma. Sir, Mr. Bhaskar, what are your ongoing preparations for Andhra Pradesh to join National Digital Health digital platform as National Health Authority already implemented pilot project in some of the union territories?
In preparation for the National Health Digital Mission, we have completed or very near to completion of a statewide household health survey where entire population we covered, collecting the vital parts of their health horizon in terms of their age, health parameters, any disease, any comorbidities, and other kind of things. Almost 90% of the population of the 5 crores have been covered. So this is going to be forming a base of, we are going to give health IDs for all these individuals. And this data we already linked with our Arogyasri Trust in the sense that e-health cards have been issued to all of them. The citizens are able to use these e-health cards to access services of Aarogyasri. And what we are doing is that all the procedures and all the diagnostic tests that they are undergoing and all the prescriptions that are being given to them, everything we are now capturing as part of this digital database. So once Government of India also gives the go-ahead to roll out in our state, we would be fully ready to integrate all these, available data because we have already linked everything to the health ID. So once the Government of India go-ahead is there, we will be able to roll it out absolutely very quickly.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bhaskar. I'll just go to Dr. Ruma Bhargava. What are your ongoing initiatives with the central government institutions or state government institutions as part of your mandate?
Right. So we have presented a proposal to the central government, Niti Aayog, Ministry of Ayush, Department of Pharmaceuticals, Health Research. The proposal has been approved in principle. And due to the COVID vaccination, they have been keeping busy. So the informal, the signing is awaited. But the core of the proposal is that we will be doing a gap analysis with respect to the preventive, curative, and governance aspects in the healthcare space. We have identified 18 themes with discussions from the health experts across the country. And then in these 18 themes, for example, like NCDs, health screening, immunization, data intelligence, we would also be looking for used cases, that is the startups which are working in India, as to how they can help augment the healthcare infrastructure and the healthcare divide. And after analyzing those startups, we would also be working with the state governments so that a pilot for those startups can be arranged, and then a strategy can be formed depending on the results of the startups for scale up across India. And to initiate with the project, we would be doing, we have picked up cancer as one of the themes on which we would be working on and identifying how technology can help in early detection of the preventable cancers, which have more prevalence in India.
So Dr. Shafqat Khan ji, welcome to panel discussion. What has been the experience of Jammu Kashmir in dealing with the ongoing vaccinations?
Vaccination was in the beginning a little slow, but I think it's now picking up. There was a sort of trust deficit, which we have been able to fill up. In fact, we saw that after the Prime Minister took the jab, people have actively participated, and with the local leaders also coming in. Even yesterday, our Honorable Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha sir, he also took a jab at the Medical College Jammu. And that reinforced the trust factor, which was a little bit to an extent missing. So I think we are picking up, and the booths where when CoWIN, that platform is notified, is witnessing huge rush. Instead of 100 people, there are 300 sometimes coming up, every day. If you have put 100 in the list, there are 300 coming to get vaccinated. So I think it is a matter of time that we will achieve the targets, because we are doing the above 50 population right now. I think we should be able to achieve the targets vis-a-vis vaccination very soon. And otherwise, COVID per se, I think it has been more or less the same across the country. There was this initial wave. Then we are predicting the second wave. But I think, as I was telling earlier, that I think we have acquired herd immunity to a large extent. And with the kind of natural immunity we people have in our country and the resistance to microbes, I think we were able to win the war in a much better way. But nevertheless, I want to add up one thing, that there are precautions which we also took. I think a lot of people have become very conscious about the use of mask and social distancing, that there was no compromise. There's a large section of people. And these large section of people belong to all kinds of economic strata in the society, middle class, lower middle class, upper middle class, even the rich and the elite. Everybody was very conscious about the use of mask. And I think the message has gone very strong. And I think this has disciplined our, people also in the country, vis-a-vis hygiene, cough, sneeze, and other etiquettes, which were, I think, to my knowledge and to my experience, missing in the system. I think it has proved, sometimes we say blessing in disguise. I would not call COVID a blessing at all, but in fact, the other catch was that people have started being very conscious about their personal hygiene, about sneeze, cough manners, and social distancing, and other related, activities to this.
Thank you, Dr. Shafqat Khan. And what are your administrative measures ongoing for Jammu Kashmir to join National Digital Health Platform?
We have not yet been phased out for the rolling out of the National Digital Health Mission, but it is included in the PIP. It has been sent to the Ministry of Health, Government of India. I think this year, next coming year, we are going to get the required funds and the digital mission will start. But nevertheless, it has already started with the rollout of Ayushman Bharat on one side. And on the other side, the Prime Minister announced a universal healthcare scheme for the citizens of J&K. And that is something very huge what has happened. There's a golden card that is being issued, and all families, irrespective of age, number, or anything else, are enrolled into this golden card, and a ceiling of 5 lakh is fixed per annum. Existing diseases, everything is covered. And this has served as a very huge impetus, a milestone in the delivery of healthcare in J&K. I think, and we have opened 5 new medical colleges in J&K recently. And with the adding of this, we have around 1,100 to 1,200 new medical seats. So that would naturally add up to the number of hospitals in this UT. The district hospitals where the medical colleges have been opened have turned into full-fledged super specialty hospitals. New manpower has come, doctors have come, consultants, professors, the faculty. So at a district level, you immediately have a super specialty hospital now, not the usual district level hospital. And I assure you that healthcare in J&K has really seen leaps and bounds in terms of be it infant mortality rate, maternal mortality, total fertility, and other parameters, healthcare parameters. I mean, we are one state where we saw a huge improvement of 10 points in the infant mortality rate in 2019. That's huge, that doesn't happen across the globe anywhere, that suddenly you become good 10 points. So something good has happened. We have at the tertiary care hospitals and the primary level both, we have created an equal number of opportunities for patients to avail pediatric and gynecology facilities. So any person who is not well, maternal and child health subject, is treated at a district level. And that is the catch, the entire, Now, by launching this golden card and universal healthcare along with the Ayushman Bharat, it has naturally digitalized the entire process of healthcare by, enrollment in having a digital card. I would, in fact, preempt that in the coming times, we can link the entire health card with the UI, having a UID with the Aadhaar card, and the Aadhaar card will link your PAN card, everything on one card, with one number. And that digital transformation is very necessary in healthcare because that will give us a way to track patients right from their initial diseases in childhood, then later, and the processes they have gone through, the surgeries they have undertaken. I think it's going to be a milestone if we digitize data at the hospital level, at the primary health level, which carries on tertiary care. I think it's going to carry our healthcare to the top, where if a person reaches directly to a tertiary care hospital, his entire medical data will be available. So I think the icing is on the cake is that we have the National Digital Health Mission on top of everything. First, the National Health Mission, then the Ayushman Bharat, then the Universal Healthcare, now the National Digital Health Mission. It'll cover the entire, healthcare scenario in the UT. I mean, I'm talking about J&K right now, but I hope it happens nationally across all states of India. So there's one who is availing a facility in Bangalore or in Mumbai or in Kolkata, they are digitized and their data is available in a hospital in Kolkata. So I think that would be a challenge to put together the small bits and pieces of basic patient care, their data, having a universal unique ID for every patient in the country, so that wherever he walks in the country, into a primary health center or a tertiary care hospital, he will have his entire data present on the platform. And it'll be easy, to give him treatment. It'll be easy to diagnose what is he's suffering from. And it'll be easy to, get the results, the anticipated results of well-being of this patient. So I think, as you rightly said, National Digital Health Mission, which will be the best possible thing to happen. And it should entirely be one platform where everything else will be covered.
Thank you, Dr. Shafqat Khanji. Mr. Bhaskar, you had a very significant plans to expand healthcare infrastructure and services from state headquarters to last mile connectivity. How these plans are shaping up as we are close to complete the current financial year?
To start with, our state just had 11 medical colleges for a population of 5 crores. So we embarked on a program of putting up 16 more hospitals. I'm happy to inform that 5 medical colleges have been recently sanctioned, and the works of those 5 medical colleges are happening. And another 10 medical colleges are in the process of detailed project reports and all. I think by the end of this current financial year itself, by March end, the 10 medical colleges will also be sanctioned. So in the next 2 years, we are expecting that the new 16 medical colleges will be added to the existing 11 medical colleges. That will be around about 26 medical colleges that we have. So that's going to add a huge number of medical graduates and postgraduates to us. So HR is going to improve. And we also recently recruited around 10,000 new medical staff into the existing medical colleges, district hospitals, and sub-district hospitals, and even into the CHC system. And we've added, in fact, during the COVID period itself, we've added a new 176 new PHCs, brand new PHCs have been added to the system. And also in urban areas, because in urban areas is one area where government facilities are the weakest link. So in our state, we are adding another 300 PHCs. We call them urban PHCs in the urban areas. So those will all be ready by the end of next financial year. A substantial number of health facilities at primary level, and we are revamping all our health facilities to bring up to IPHS standards, both in terms of physical infrastructure as well as manpower. So physical infrastructure as per IPHS standards would be ready this year. Once the physical infrastructure is ready, parallelly the HR recruitment is also going on. So we would be having both the buildings equipment as well as the staff as per IPHS standards, right from our district hospitals up to the PHC and subcenter. And obviously all our teaching hospital would be of the NABH and NABH standards by the end of 2 years. That is the kind of elaborate exercise we are doing. In fact, our investment in health for the next 3 years, only in terms of infrastructure, is to the tune of around 24,000 crores, which is like a substantial jump. Apart from the regular every year expenditure that we are doing not about 10 to 11,000 crores, which is seeing a annual growth rate of around roughly 20 to 30% every year. That is for the general maintenance portion and for the HR portion. So there's a lot of investment going in the health sector from the teaching hospital level to the, and we are also building health and wellness centers. In every village, we are going to have a brand new health and wellness center in a new building with all the equipment required and the HR.
Thank you, Mr. Bhaskar. Dr. Ruma Bhargava, as a head of the World Economic Forum Health Practice, in which are the areas India can do much better? What is your view? And also your take on the recently announced budget for the government of India on health outlay, if you can.
Right. So it was good to see that the budget had health as its chief focus, but I feel we could have done much better, though the Honorable Finance Minister said that the outlay would be 137% of the budget was going to the health as compared to the last year, but it was not specifically for the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. It was divided across Ministry of Ayush, Ministry of clean drinking water, and a one-time allocation for COVID. So that for the COVID vaccination. So it was actually a combined budget. What I feel we still need to spend on the healthcare system much better. If we see India's comparison to the other countries, we are spending just over 1% of our current GDP, around 1.4% of the GDP we spend on our public health infrastructure, whereas the National Health Policy recommends that it should be at least 2.5% and incrementally increasing it to 3 to 4% of the GDP, which would help us build resilient health infrastructure. So I feel that is like the key thing, that we need to increase the public health spending in our health budget over a period of time. And also we need to invest on primary healthcare, as the government has already initiated with the introduction of health and wellness centers. But then we need to strengthen these both in terms of human resource and human resource, also the trained human resources in terms of infrastructure as well. Because if we see the present healthcare landscape in India, it's an inverted pyramid structure, where we have the base of the pyramid that is more heavily invested, as well as the patient burden is on the tertiary healthcare. But the primary healthcare space, where we should be investing more and where we should be catching the patients at an early age, that is very less. So I feel primary healthcare should be our area of focus. And that is how we would be able to achieve the target of universal health coverage, what we envision by until the year 2030.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ruma Bhargava. Dr. Shafqat Khan, the government of India announced a golden card for you, and you are also preparing for the National Digital Health Platform. And you already wanted to know, there are so many schemes that you are participating in that. But what are the administrative procedures to be done to take it to the next level as an implementation or an action plan? What Jammu and Kashmir is preparing for these actionable items?
You see, I think for every activity on the digital platform, we need seamless, bandwidth and network, we have number one, a lesser number of these help centers, CSCs, and we wanted to enhance them to larger number, because we have come to understand that we have 450,000 something centers across the country. But if you come to the UT of J&K, the number is very less. So I think seamless connectivity with more number of help centers where people can first walk in, register to the basic facility. Then we will need to digitize our records, where we are individually doing hospitals right now. Every hospital is doing, each one of the hospitals is doing digitization or soon. Then we need event connectivity between the hospitals and then the entire UT from Jammu to Srinagar, Then we are trying to rope in the private healthcare operators, not only in the golden card delivery of healthcare and Ayushman Bharat, but also in the vaccination process, as is done across the country. So I think private healthcare will have a large, role to play in the coming years in the healthcare of the country. It will augment the services, and I think we'll have to keep ourselves open to the idea of developing more private healthcare as a competition to healthcare in the government sector. I think we sometimes, shy away with this fact that no, private healthcare is not good. Only government has to be strengthened. But I personally understand that we should create a good and viable private sector, which is governed by rules and regulations. Government should regulate all the functions of the private sector to whatever maximum possible, but we should handhold private sector to come in and establish as much. That will give, way to quality healthcare, evolving in the private hands too. I think large hospitals like Apollo, Fortis, Medanta and all are, doing a very great role across the country. We see large scope of medical tourism in J&K, where we can have private players, doing medical tourism. Patients across the Gulf countries and Africa come across to Delhi, Mumbai for treatment. We are anticipating that they should come to J&K as well. They can come if we have a sustainable ecosystem developed for healthcare that is not only in the government sector, but in the private sector as well, and give avenues to the private sector to develop such medical facilities, which will, tempt someone from Middle East, from Africa, from Southeast Asia to come and, get treated. I think that would be a huge, there's a potential of medical tourism all across India, I feel, but especially in the UT of J&K. And it will become a real, win-win story for healthcare in J&K if we are able to do that. But as you said, focused on the digital, part of the story. I think every hospital is, generating digital imprints for the patient, right from coming to leaving, the discharge is being given on computer and computerized. But there needs a lot of work to be done. Once the digital health mission is on, when the government of India is going to finance it, I'm hopeful that we can take the digital platform to a higher level, which is just 2021. I think middle of 2021 it may come. And I think we will be able to turn around healthcare in a large way then. So that's what it is.
Thank you, Dr. Shafqat Khan. Mr. Bhaskar, the Health Ministry wants digital platforms like CoWIN and National Digital Health Platform to make a grand success like a Aadhaar application. Do you see that state governments also need to have a separate digital platform for state governments to safeguard their interest and better management of the local needs?
No, I don't think so. See, every state has its own separate digital database and digital this thing. The entire purpose is again, defeated. The simple point is that, yes, states may be custodians of the data, health being again a subject with the states again. So I think a central repository with the states' access to it should be a kind of a hybrid model that we should be looking at, rather than every state having its own thing and all. In the long run, again, it will create, silos where, cross movement of people, patients, services, everything would be affected. So a uniform, in fact, it could be uniform national standards, which Government of India anyway has published, all the states use the same standards, I think the databases could speak to each other. So any state which has any, cross-boundary request for transmission of information can happen very easily. That is very much possible. But each state having its own system, I don't think it's good in the long run, and it's not going to be.
Thank you, Mr. Bhaskar. My last question, Dr. Shafqat Khanji, what is your view on the digital platform owning by union territories or state governments to safeguard their local needs?
No, I think, as Mr. Bhargava sir said, that this repository of information, digital information, cannot be limited to the states or the UTs only. It has to be like Aadhaar on a platform, because in India, people travel across, people live, people have relatives, all across the length and breadth of the country, from north to south, south to east to west. I think this repository should be with the Government of India. It can be generated by the states individually, but under the leadership of the Government of India, and it has to be held in a repository there, so that it can be shared. It can become part of your Aadhaar. It can be linked there, so it can be used to a number of areas. I think it will enhance our way to the creating of artificial intelligence in healthcare. When you use your medical data of your entire population, you can see the emergence of disease. You can see how much, what is the trend of disease, what is happening in the different socioeconomic groups, which disease is more prevalent, what are the trends of disease. I think this repository will be research oriented also. Then it can help in a person availing benefits of health insurance across the length and breadth of the country. I think we can, as Bhargava sir said, that we have to keep it, we have to generate it. It has to be state UT specific, but I think it has to merge at a level, and that Union Health Ministry can do at the higher level. This repository has to be at the central level, so that it can be merged either with the Aadhaar or the election card, and all into a one UIP, so that we have all data available wherever the person is across the length of. He's on a holiday in Goa, we should be able to access his medical information there also.
Thank you, Dr. Shafqat Khan. My last question to Dr. Ruma Bhargava. Going forward, what are your priorities for India, and which are the areas we expect some significant initiatives by the World Economic Forum?
Right. So our priorities and areas would be where the major disease burden of India lies. As we have seen that there is a shift in the burden of diseases towards the non-communicable diseases, which as compared to the communicable ones. So we would be focusing on CVDs, cancer, as the major focus areas with respect to the non-communicable diseases. So looking at the data governance aspect, as Dr. Shafqat rightly said, that we can help, with the help of data, we can leverage artificial intelligence to see the emergence and trend of diseases. So that would definitely be another area of focus as to how we can leverage data governance. Another aspect would be health screening, because as I previously said also, that we need to capture and the patient's right at the initial stage, and even like before that, we should prevent the disease from happening. In fact, it should be like a primordial prevention for the population per se. So these will be the three key areas of focus as we go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Ruma Bhargava. So I sincerely thank you, our esteemed panelists, for today's panel discussion on integrating healthcare in age of digital India, part of National Governance Virtual Summit. I thank you, Mr. Bhaskar Katamneni, IAS, Commissioner, Health and Family Welfare and Mission Director, National Health Mission, Government of Andhra Pradesh. Dr. Shafqat Khan, Officer on Special Duty, Department of Health and Medical Education from Government of Jammu and Kashmir. Dr. Ruma Bhargava, Lead Healthcare, World Economic Forum. Thank you very much for joining today.
Thank you everyone for sharing your perspective and deep insights. Stay tuned for the last set of parallel tracks.